Hey everybody, welcome back to the dumpster fire that is our podcast. I am Paige. I am a 23-year-old mom of two. I am not currently working thanks to coronavirus, and I have borderline personality disorder, and that's me. And this is Carolyn.
Hi, I'm Carolyn, and I'm a 37-year-old entrepreneur with two boys, a husband, and a cat. And we are here to break the stigma around moms who smoke.
I also have a cat. I forgot to say that. That would have been a good thing.
You left the cat out.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Poor Castiel is going to be so upset. So this week we're here to talk about the stigma around moms and parents who smoke, because there's a lot of it, whether or not people want to address it.
Mm-hmm.
So scrolling down. Shouldn't have smoked a bowl right before this, even though we're moms who smoke. So today we're going to be diving into why we started this, and it's honestly just the stigma surrounding it, and why weed is so bad and so taboo,
and why we're sick of feeling like we're doing something bad. Like, honestly,
I'm tired.
Stop.
I'm so tired of, like, I can smoke. Oh my God, I can smoke. I can post a picture of me with a glass of wine, but God forbid I post a picture of me smoking a bowl. Like, it's the end of the world. Everybody freaks out.
Yeah, you're definitely.
I'm getting calls from grandma and. So stigma is defined as a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. So obviously there's a very strong stigma around how people view stoners and what stoners are. So throughout history, I feel like weed has been brought across the entertainment industry, and as well as just like the general population through the government and such, in so many different ways. When it comes to the stigma surrounding weed and like the cliche things, I think movies like, where did I write them down? Hold on.
Half-Baked. I honestly, I hate that movie. There's some funny parts in it, but I hate how it makes us look like idiots, complete idiots.
And I get like Cheech and Chong and Bob Marley, their demographic and what they sell to is pot smokers. And I don't think that they overdo it. They just like, they're proud stoners. Whereas you watch things like Half-Baked or Harold and Kumar kind of movies, or I don't know, there's so many of them. Like stoners, just even in like Ted, stoners come across as such lazy fucking idiots, to be honest with you. And that's not the case. And it's really difficult. So, but it's not surprising that people have this view on it. And there are celebrities such as, like, sorry for my YouTube obsession, but Chris Clemens, Tana Mojo, Jeffree Star, Snoop Dogg, Bella Thorne, like there's a lot of influencers or celebrities that do speak out about pot use and are very open about their pot use, but they're very few and far between. The fact that I can name like 5 off the top of my head is because I obviously watch people that speak about things I'm interested in, and that's why I know about them. But it's hard to find people that actually speak out about it in a positive way. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, when it comes to like the government and laws, although medicinal weed in Canada has been legal since 2001, it's still been so taboo and so, I feel, under-researched. And up until it became legal, it was so hard to find any factual research or any fact-based research on marijuana, and even like smoking while pregnant or smoking while breastfeeding. And those were big questions I had. And I did find 2 factual papers that I read and like found the evidence for, but that took me, I think, weeks, if not months of research to actually.
And God forbid you would ever ask that, like on a mom's group,
God,
or something, because you'd get eaten alive.
And what's funny is the majority of the moms that I know smoked while pregnant, and their kids are perfectly fine and ahead. And even parents who have kids that are in their teens that I know that smoked while they were pregnant, and their teens are fine, or their adults are fine. Like, there's the what did I write? It was hard to find unbiased papers as well, because you're either fully for it or fully against it, and there needed to be more research out there that was
neutral research.
Exactly. So now that it's become legal, it has become a lot easier, but because that stigma was there for so many decades, if not hundreds of years, really.
It's hard to erase that.
Yeah, it takes a long time. And that's why we're here.
Doing our small part.
Oh, yeah. Smoking our bowls. We're fine. I also have, with the mix of the cliche stoner stigma and the lack of factual government data, it's really not surprising that there's so many people who have a negative opinion on it. Boomers, man. I thought it was funny at 1:00 in the morning when I wrote it. Sorry, guys.
No, you did a poll this week.
Oh, did I do a poll?
That was interesting.
So, do you want to explain how I started it? Because I've been talking a lot.
Well, you did a poll. You posted a poll on our local moms group. And initially, it was not an anonymous poll. We wanted to know who was comfortable speaking out in front of other people about it.
Yeah.
And like right away, someone was upset that it wasn't anonymous, when the whole point of it was to get our take. Like, we wanted to get a snapshot of who was okay with speaking out about their smoking.
Yeah, we wanted to get, that's exactly what it was. Like, I wanted to ask these questions and get the answers to these questions, but I wanted to see who was willing to answer them without anything hiding who they were.
Yeah, like openly, as opposed to hiding behind anonymity.
100%. So then 3 hours after that, I did the private one. And
so how many responses did you get on the open one? Like, we're not going to name any names. We're not.
Oh, no.
We're not going to do that at all.
When somebody asked what it was for, I said, it's all anonymous.
Absolutely.
I was just curious. That's for research purposes. So we had one person comment that we may have more luck with the honest, thorough responses by making an anonymous survey through SurveyMonkey, which, again, was our plan. And I did respond to her.
Yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people responded publicly.
Okay.
Of those 6 people that responded publicly, I don't think that the age that they started smoking is relevant, but everybody is like high school, 15, 16.
Okay. Teenagers.
If not just when they were just turned legal. Like, it's basically one or the other.
Early adulthood. Okay.
So all of them, aside from, actually all of them on Facebook, are recreational. All of them except for one, she started recreationally and then she started smoking for medicinal purposes. But it's funny how people responded publicly, because when asked about the stigma, it's almost like they were careful in how they were saying it. And, there'll always be haters in the world. Everybody has different opinions, kind of their guidelines of what they would follow. If I was in that position, maybe I wouldn't. If I had to take care of my kids, what if something happened and I couldn't drive them to the hospital? My response back to that is, I can't drive my kids to the hospital anyways if something happens.
There would be an ambulance called, I guess.
Yeah, if something bad enough happened.
I mean, when I do smoke, I'm never anywhere near the level I would be if I were to have like even 1 or 2 beers.
Oh, 100%.
I have no tolerance for alcohol, and
it messes you up.
I don't walk around stoned. I don't know.
I feel calm. I feel like, we both smoke more necessarily medicinally than we do. I don't know. But there was, so not that I'm not really going to highlight the responses right now, because there wasn't, other than, there's some stigma, or I don't really think it negatively impacts my parenting, but it doesn't positively impact my parenting. But the private one, the very first response I got on the private one was interesting. I didn't even read out the questions that I asked. I have them written down. Do you want to read them out?
Okay, so how old were you when you smoked for the first time? Why did you start smoking? Have you faced criticism as a parent who smokes weed? Have you ever experienced/noticed any negative stigma around smoking or smoking as a parent? And do you think smoking weed positively or negatively impacts your ability as a parent? So those were the questions asked both in the open and the anonymous surveys.
And then, as well as the anonymous survey, at the very end, I asked if they answered anonymously because they didn't want to put their name out publicly relating to weed. And all of the answers, aside from, where is it? There was one that said no, one that commented to tell me that there should have been a private thing from the get-go.
Okay.
And then everybody else said yes, that they answered privately because they did not want their name associated with the stigma of weed.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone that answered except for except for two people, started smoking recreationally. The one person that answered said they had never smoked before. And then the other one said they were in Amsterdam and that's why they started smoking. And I was like, fuck yeah, I would start smoking in Amsterdam too. And then have you faced criticism as a parent who smokes weed? Not so much because I'm a parent, facing criticism more over the fact that I smoke weed, which I found interesting. No, because I keep it hidden from those who I know don't approve. No, I don't. Yes, no, and not applicable. So the majority there, as a parent who smokes weed, no. And then I asked, have you ever noticed any negative stigma around smoking? And almost every answer except for one was yes.
Should I?
So it's not necessarily the stigma about being a parent who smokes. It's smoking in general.
Just in general, yeah. You're just already labeled as a heathen.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's funny that you said that. Yes, non-smokers usually get a judgmental look on their face when it's brought up. Yes, people think it's for bums and low-life people. Yes, that we're all lazy and don't work and don't care about our kids and we're all broke. Yes, should never be around children. Yes, people don't like the smell. That should never be around children, I'd like to say, was from the person who's never smoked weed and also thinks it negatively impacts their parenting.
Okay.
Susan, you don't have a right to have a fucking opinion if you haven't smoked. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not to ruffle feathers, but I'm ruffling them. Yes, went over to a friend's house recently. Someone was passing a joint, but the hostess was very uncomfortable with it, even though it's legalized. On social media, yes. Yes, lower class, loser, etc. So
interesting.
Which surprised me. Like, I thought that the stigma was more around parents who smoked, but it turns out that everybody just hates stoners. And we just love everybody. So
yeah, I know.
How do we fix this?
Feeling the love.
And then, and then the stigma around smoking as a parent. The stigma is if you smoke weed as a parent, people tend to think that you're a bad parent if they don't smoke themselves. Only with older generations. I keep my mouth shut.
Careful now. I'm an older generation.
Yeah, but you're not the problem. It's not your fault if your generation's shitty sometimes. It's not even yours, it's the one above yours.
I know, yeah. I just squeaked it.
Yeah.
An elder millennial.
Someone said yes, social media, parenting groups getting into a debate. Oh my God. What's your experience? Actually, no, we've had positive experiences posting about pot.
I have. Yeah, in the moms group, actually in the same moms group. I think it was about a year ago. Was it? I can't remember.
It was quite a while ago.
I had posted about it. Actually, they had a poll about, because they kind of wanted to connect all the moms with different, like everybody who had the same interests kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there was a poll and I just added one because a lot of it was like drinking and hanging out, which is great. Like I'm down, all my friends do that. But I just added one saying I'm not a drinker, I'm a smoker. So if there's any other moms, and there was a lot of positive feedback I made, it was good.
Yeah. And it's not surprising now when I meet somebody, like I almost assume people smoke weed now. Like when I meet them, you can kind of, you have a stoner radar. Almost like a gaydar, but yeah. And except for stoners. Sometimes both. It's fine. I'm sorry. I'm going to be the shit show of this podcast if anybody else hasn't figured that out yet. I think that's what I'm here for. Sometimes I have good info, but and then do you think smoking positively or negatively impacts your abilities as a parent? I'd like to say that 6 out of 11 people answered no difference.
Okay.
So personally, I would not say no difference if it was alcohol.
No. Yeah, definitely. I could not have like 4 or 5 beers and then properly parent.
Did you? No, you weren't with me that night. You can ask Michelle about how bad my rosé night went.
Oh no.
I did one of those, like, when you're like walking with your legs far apart and you're puking between your legs.
Oh
I did
no.
that across the street. I puked in the ditch and then I was fine. But like,
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of drinking. I don't
I get sick every time.
yeah, me too.
It's
I
not
don't
even
feel
fun.
good, and it's like, to me, there's what's the point?
And you're not in control. Like, I don't feel
Yeah,
in
I don't
control
like that
anymore.
either. As soon as I get into that state where I feel like I'm no longer really in complete control of myself, it makes me very uncomfortable.
I immediately become self-destructive. And
Yeah,
that's just not, I don't
not a
know.
good
I
thing.
don't
Yeah.
anyways, so two of them said negatively, except one of them has never smoked before. Not, I can't see who answered.
Okay.
It's anonymous, but I can see all of their answers. It's like respondent one, respondent two.
Okay.
And then two people said positively, and one of them said other, um, using capsules occasionally, so no impact. So that's understand. You don't get high
Yeah.
from capsules. It's
Yeah.
just a CBD.
Yeah.
Um, So I think that the general response was that there's stigma around stoners and around parents who smoke that are open about it.
Yeah.
But I think that the main stigma is just around weed in general.
I think too, it's just a lack of understanding, right? People
Mhm.
fear what they don't understand. So I feel like if you're going off of what your parents told you growing up, or what the government has told you, then yeah, it would be a scary thing. Like, oh, I know a lot of people who don't smoke think it's like a psychedelic, and it's not at all. Like, you're
That's
not
what
gonna
I thought.
see things, and you're not gonna float or feel like you're floating. Like it's not a psychedelic at all. And I think it's just a lot of people think that it's like dropping acid or something. I don't know, but
And
it's
people don't understand that it is medicinal, whether or not you have a prescription for it. Like, as right before we started recording, we were outside kind of brainstorming, and we were talking about how, like, you smoke so you're not anxious. And I do the
yeah,
same thing. Like, I wake up in the morning not feeling myself, which is a lot of mornings because borderline personality disorder, and I smoke and I'm okay. And it gets me to the point of, like, I have a calm enough mind to continue with my day and make the decisions I need to make. Whereas if
a
I
calm
didn't
state.
smoke,
Yeah,
yeah, if I didn't smoke, like, none of that would have gotten done and I would have been panicking and grumpy all day.
yeah,
And is that worth it?
yeah,
Not to
exactly.
me.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. But I think that the response was good, and I think that we learned a lot about negative Nellies, I guess.
yeah.
Not, well, maybe not learned a lot about them, but like it kind of proved our point that they're immediately on both of the like
Was negative.
questionnaires with
Yeah,
stigma.
yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's interesting.
I think the more we talk about it, and that's the thing I think too, like if you're listening and you have any questions, um, whether you want to ask them anonymously or as yourself, then I mean, feel free to ask. I feel like we should kind of open the mic
Oh
to
yeah, I think that
them, like,
I think for every episode we should release a survey monkey with like any anonymous questions
yeah,
that people want to ask. And it can be
yeah,
anything. Like, I will research to hell for you. I
yeah,
love researching this stuff. If you have a question that you want fact-based information on, like, send me your
we'll
question
cover it.
and I
Yeah,
will cover it. Or like I'll research it and we'll cover it. Like,
yeah,
it's I want to inform people and I want people to know that it's not this bad thing. And like, I would be on two different medications right now if I didn't smoke.
mhm.
And I don't, like, I've done that before and it didn't go well. And the fact that I can balance between a pharmaceutical and a plant,
Herbal.
herbal, yeah, like that, I don't know, I'm better off.
Yep,
And I feel like my mental state's better off and my body isn't taking in these whatever is in a pill because I don't know.
exactly.
I know what I'm
Part in
smoking.
your
It's a
kidneys.
plant.
Yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. And a lot of these medications also wear off over time. And I've been
yeah.
smoking
After
for
a while, you
10
build
years.
up a tolerance for it, and then it just doesn't work for you anymore.
Yeah. And it's not that way with weed.
Mhm. And with weed, it's easy too to stop for like a week, let's say, and then take a
Mhm.
tolerance break.
And then there's also like I understand there's people who smoke weed like they use alcohol. They smoke weed to get super stoned and
Well,
just
yeah, yeah. There's always abuse of everything, though, right?
yeah.
Food, medication,
Hmm.
alcohol. It's about using it responsibly.
100%. And it's about knowing that not everybody is using it in a negative way. Like, it's not like it's heroin. I feel like
Exactly.
growing up, that's, again, my parents were fear mongering over the subject of weed. And I tell them to their face, like, my dad does not talk about weed.
Mhm.
But like, my mom helped me find my bong today. She told me about the shop. And like, it's growing up, I honestly looked at it like it was cocaine or heroin or
It was
meth.
scary, yeah.
Like, because it was just so unknown. And I just, if everybody has the information, it's the same thing as us being open about mental health or racism or people being transgender with their whatever their sexuality is. If we're just open about it and provide the information, the world's going to be a lot better off.
Knowledge is power.
It is, and people need to realize that and realize that, like, Facebook comments don't give you knowledge and definitely don't give you power.
Keyboard
Karen,
warriors.
please.
So let's do the weekly check-in.
So how has
Oh.
we're both trying to be so polite.
No, you go. No, you go.
Okay, you go first.
Yeah, no, I've just been struggling a lot with like trying to manage time. Like with everybody here, it's really hard. Like I work for a little bit and then I get interrupted. Not that they're like interrupting me. It's just I hear them, especially if like they're looking for, I don't know, it's just little things. And it's just a lot. Like I feel like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, but you're home with your kids and relax time. But I still work. Like I still have clients that I work for. And it's hard trying to balance everything. And I don't want to be a complainer, but I'm just struggling.
Honestly, I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I'm allowed to complain because if I don't, I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah, you have to let it out, otherwise it eats you up.
I'm not necessarily working, but I'm doing a lot of projects. Like, I spent 7 hours one day between editing the podcast and editing a lyric video for a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And like, I'm tired. I'm starting to realize how hard it is to be a single mom. I think I've just like pushed through it and ignored it up until now. And then a few people have been like, you do a lot. And I'm like, oh, I do a lot. I'm tired.
Because you kind of lose your village, right? Like when you don't have, it's hard. It's just hard. And it's weird. Times are weird. And every day it's changing. And it's kind of like that uncertainty. And then trying not to project the uncertainty and the anxiety on the kids,
yeah, and like the kids this morning, so like overall this week, it's been a rough week. Like my emotions have been very up and down. Mental health wise, it's been a rough week, but like I've gotten through it. But projecting onto the kids, like we were watching the Prime Minister this morning, and Dawson's like, I don't like watching this every morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, normally I have it on my phone and my headphones, like it's not on the TV very few mornings. And it hit me this morning, like it can't be on the TV at all.
Yeah.
Unless he's addressing the kids. The kids like it when he does that. But he was talking about the adults being uncertain, and you could see the look in Dawson's eyes change.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's just struggling right now. Like nobody knows what to do.
No, it's just all very new and unknown, and it's hard. Like I don't know how you talk to the kids about it, but because Dax will ask me all the time, like where, like my kids are 14 and 5, and the 14-year-old understands obviously what's going on, that it's a virus and we just need to stop the spread of it. But coming from like a 5-year-old's point of view, it's harder. I try to say there's a virus. He doesn't really know what that is. So there's a sickness, going around, and we just have to try to stop it so we can't go to other people's houses. And it just breaks my heart because he'll be like, well, we can go to people's houses again, or just the way he talks, like he talks about like the future instead. It's just, they keep asking, when's it going to end? And it's like, we don't even know. So
it's really difficult. And even like I tell them I can't go to the store, and then like I went to the store today because I had to go to the store because I got paid today.
Supplies.
I'm out of so many things, and like I bought a fucking Switch, and I bought my kids so much stuff, but I didn't buy makeup, or like I really wanted to get teeth whitening strips because my teeth are gross. I never took care of my teeth, like just little things I want to do for myself. And I spent half the amount on groceries today, and I got all of the things.
Yay, budgeting.
Literally like half of my grocery, but it's cool now. I'm noticing in the stores, and maybe like this is the kind of update we should do throughout quarantine, is like how things, like where things are at. But things were stocked and things were cheap. I got Jane's for less than $5.
Yeah, I've noticed too that like I feel like I've been getting more on my grocery hauls. Like we're still sticking to like every week I get the same stuff, so I spend the same amount of money. We have a budget. We're still sticking to it, but I feel like I'm getting more from like more bang for my buck. And everything is pretty much back, like the stocks, like everything's stocked up. I noticed that too. I hate going out to stores because there's still people out there that don't understand.
And there's certain stores you can't go to. Like my mom and I decided today we can't go to Giant Tiger again because they're ignorant in there.
Yeah,
Like the workers don't even respect it.
I know.
And not to like
In there.
call them out or anything, but I'm going to in this situation. Like nobody was respecting it, and I kept moving over and like moving out of the way
Me
because
too.
I don't want to be exposed.
Yeah.
But then we went into like Shoppers and everybody was great.
Oh, that's good. I don't know. I always drive by Shoppers and there's always so many people in the parking lot. I'm like, what the hell? So, but I've decided now going out like from this point on, I think I'll have a mask just because.
Oh, I need to get a mask. I agree. I felt bad going out without one.
It's too scary. Like, I mean, as much as you can wash your hands and stuff, you can't help someone walking past you in your space and coughing or like sneezing or breathing. You know, like how did Justin say it today? Moistly talking. Did you hear that?
No, I turned it off. And if he used that word,
like
I'm
moistly talking. Yeah, he did. And it was like about like spitting while you talk, but he used the term moist. And now there's memes everywhere. So it's like, thanks. Great. Yeah, our leader.
I didn't want that word to come back in 2020. I was over it.
Justin brought it back.
He's bringing moist back.
Oh, God. Is that a TikTok in your future? I don't know.
If I ever say that word again on the fucking internet, I'll die.
Well, now there's a sound bite. Oh.
And this is our dumpster fire.
Yes, welcome.
We're cherishing it very.
Please come back.
This could eventually pay our bills.
Please come back.
We have a lot of opinions. We like you.
Okay, so next week we have Sabrina that's going to come and join us. Not come, but she'll join us here on the screen. And she runs a page called Cannabis Infused Motherhood, and she also has a podcast. So
what a badass name! Like I want to know how I'm going to ask her.
She's pretty badass, and yeah, she's all about using cannabis to enhance healing and spirituality. So she'll come and talk to us about all that good stuff. So I'm really excited about that.
That's so cool. I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
And we can dive into I used to use weed to like meditate and stuff too. So I'm excited to dive into that side of it.
Yeah.
So we're here to break the stigma, and we're trying to just, I don't know, talking about it more is just going to get it out there more. And I don't know. I think that both of our kids or both of our kids, all four of our kids, there's more than two of them.
Yes, there are.
Are good examples of our parenting.
Mm-hmm.
We have very good kids, other than when the boys are together somewhere.
And they're concocting some sort of daring plan.
They're going to take over this town. Give them 5 years.
I'm scared.
Me too. Like, for my life.
Pray for us, Jesus. Take the wheel.
Was that right? Is that what they do?
Yeah.
I went to Sunday school when I was little.
Oh, I went to church every Sunday growing up.
I went with my grandparents, but clearly their lessons didn't stick very much in my head. And now I'm smoking the devil's lettuce. And that has been our dumpster fire.
Yeah.
If not
Thanks
more.
for watching the dumpster fire.
We are the dumpster fire. Are we the...
Or listening, listening, however you're consuming our content.
All right. So we will see you next week. We don't know what day we're going to post on, and we're not going to tell you guys a day.
Until the pandemic, it's like life's kind of fluid at the moment, so
yeah, you might get an episode next week. You might get 3 in 1 week. You might get none 1 week. We're going to be
part of the suspense.
once it's over, we'll have a proper schedule. But
yes, yeah,
there's just
we'll get into a groove.
We will, and maybe we'll try and do some like bonus episodes if one of us can record 1 week and one can't. We'll just Maybe I'll do like a BPD episode, and you can do like a entrepreneur
Yeah,
episode, or
that's
like
cool.
anxiety episode, or I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds
Just,
good.
yeah. And we will see you at our next dumpster fire.
Bye.
Bye.